I had a bit and I forgot. Never mind. Moving right along. Hello and welcome to Swim Fans.
Try it.
No, I don't have it. I forgot what it was.
Try to summon it.
Okay, my backup bit was, what do you guys think would be like the grossest thing for the T1000 to be made out of? And then I'm like, that's a stupid thing to ask the group.
Jelly. Feel like picking up like hair.
Oh yeah.
Remember those like sticky hands you get from the dentist?
Oh, I love those.
Like,
yeah,
but, like
be
imagine
amazing.
one that's been like hanging out in the streets of LA for like 3 days.
That'd be the filthiest robot in the history of robots.
Covered in ash.
Yeah, human matter just caught somewhere inside of him.
Yeah, definitely some type of food like mayonnaise or butter or something.
Mayonnaise would be
like
really
a bunch
bad.
Of mayonnaise, you can still see the packaging, but it's like rotted and molded around. Yeah.
Mayonnaise would be bad because like when like pieces fall off, like that's gonna be a gross sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a real glorp type situation.
Yeah.
Sarah and John are not making out of that confrontation.
Anyway, that's the quality level of the backup bits.
Yeah.
So. Hello and welcome to Swim Fans. Okay, hello and welcome to Swim Fans. Full clip. All right, this is your summer series. We're talking action movies. We're talking high octane kind of adventures. I am your co-host, the Fursuit Terminator. I'm Josh McKenzie.
Oh, I'm Craig Easy Money Neeson.
Now who's Jen Hawking, you jock douchebag?
Hi, I'm Carlos wearing 2 million sunblock.
By the way, that was the first bit I just realized was the one about what was like if there was like a fursuit Terminator. Anyway, so moving right along.
Wait, so you forgot the cold open, but you incorporated it into your opening bit anyway?
Because I remembered like as I was introducing the show.
Wait, so what was the bit?
Like, just imagine like a fursuit Terminator. Like you've got the iron bones, but the exoskeleton is like a cartoon wolf. You know what I mean? Like that was the whole thing.
See,
just a thought experiment.
I imagine the suit, right? It's the scene in the programmer's living room, and he cuts off the fursuit. And then there's flesh under it. Then he has to cut off the flesh.
Exactly.
And then everyone's waiting. Like it's like a really drawn out scene.
I was just like, why does it have to be a guy with skin? Why couldn't it be like a cartoon wolf?
Did I ever? We should probably cut this. Did I ever show you the video of like it's someone in one of those like full body anime suits, but they have like 5 layers on? And they have like 5 costumes layered over and over each other. It's like this totally like surreal, like upsetting video. But then underneath all of that is like a gimp suit. It's very fucked up. But like if you were cutting through that and then like a Russian nesting doll, like you just keep peeling off like fake anime skin.
Oh man.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Like how many layers would you say off the top of your head?
So there was like an anime suit. Then under that was like a more realistic human suit.
Oh,
and
man.
then under that was a black gimp suit. And then under that was a red gimp suit.
How are you going to be layering gimp suits?
And then the video starts with them putting a plastic bag over their head.
I need like a Tor browser to even talk about this video.
We can cut all of this out.
Leave it in. Anyway,
what
this
movie
week
are we watching?
This week on Swim Fans Full Clip, we are talking 1991 James Cameron film Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Just do it.
Okay, so if you haven't seen Terminator 2 Judgment Day, it's a sequel to Terminator. So jot that down first of all. What you do need to know about the Terminator lore is that like by the year 2029, all of Earth has been sort of enslaved by Skynet, which is a self-aware AI that's sort of right at the jump began they did the mutually assured destruction thing between America and Russia to sort of cause like a nuclear holocaust type situation. So there were like decades of like human resistance against the machines, but things aren't going as well as they'd hoped. And the robots have gotten wise. All right, they have invented time travel, and they in the first movie they have sent a Terminator back to kill Sarah Connor, who is the mother of the resistance leader John Connor, and that doesn't succeed. So in Terminator 2 now, their new thing is instead of killing the mom, all right, let's just kill the little boy himself. So we're actually going to go to 1995 when the child is like 11. And we'll kill him then. So they send back their new model, the T-1000. This is a robot who's made of like anything that we talked about at the beginning of the show. He's made of like liquid metal.
He's made of
and he can like
suits.
He's made of liquid metal, and he can not only replicate people's appearances, but he can also turn his arms into like simple machines. Or turn part of his body into simple machines. He also can instantly repair when damaged, all that good stuff. So in response, the humans send back a reprogrammed Terminator played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is doing the classic Terminator thing, but now he is there to be their friend instead of trying to kill them. So that is the state of things in 1995 Los Angeles. John is in foster care because Sarah Connor at this point in her trying to make people aware of the incoming Skynet threat has gotten herself booked into a mental health hospital where she's being systematically abused by the staff there. But she knows the truth. All right. She sees the visions of the nuclear strike that goes off. It kills something like 3 billion people instantly. So she's trying to stay fit and ready for when this comes. The Terminator goes to where John is living, is able to find him before the T-1000 gets to him. And that's sort of where we are for most of the movie, is that the Terminator is trying to protect John Connor from the T-1000. And to sort of further this, they go and rescue Sarah from the mental health facility. They break her out. And they're like, all right, let's regroup. Let's get in touch with this sort of like, they were running guns in Nicaragua, I believe was said. So she like hooks up with her her contacts. They're able to get sort of kitted out with guns and whatnot. And Sarah has the idea that I'm just going to kill the guy who invents Skynet. So I will go to Miles Dyson's house in Los Angeles and I will kill him before he can make it. Well, so she goes to his house. She shoots a ton of bullets in there. She almost kills him, but does not succeed when she realizes she can't take this guy's life. So what she does instead is that once John and the Terminator show up, she basically makes the Terminator like convince Dyson that what she's saying is true. And when he's informed about the 3 billion people that will die as a result of his invention, he's like, you're right. We so have to stop this. Let's do that. So in like the next major chunk of the movie, they're at the Cyberdyne like offices where they're trying to destroy all of the documentation, all of the prototypes, anything relating to the development of Skynet, including like the arm of the Terminator from the first movie and like part of like the brain processor chip, which is sort of what jumpstarts this like Skynet knowledge. So they gather everything up, but the cops are right on their tail. The Terminator makes a promise to John that he won't kill anybody, so he's trying to like non-fatally disperse the police. But the police get in anyway, and Dyson is like mortally wounded in this sort of like escapade. He gives Sarah, John, and the Terminator just enough time to escape Cyberdyne before he blows up the bomb that they've rigged to destroy all of the Skynet materials. So they escape, but they are pursued again by the T-1000. So this is the final bit of the film. They're at the iconic like steel plant for foundry refinery. Yeah. So they're there. They are able to sort of freeze the T-1000 with liquid nitrogen, and they're able to shatter him. And they're like, awesome, it's so over. But it is in fact not over, because frozen things do melt. So he reforms. He destroys the Terminator, like impales him a bunch, forces the Terminator to rip his own arm off, injures Sarah quite severely, and he's kind of got them right on the edge until in like one final stand, the Terminator shows up, pushes the T-1000 into a vat of molten metal, and he once John throws the ARM and processor from the previous Terminator in, he's like, all right, there's one more thing we got to destroy. It's me. So John is tearfully saying, no, don't go. You're my only dad, pretty much. And he descends into the molten metal in sort of a tearful farewell. In the last scene, Sarah and John are driving away, thinking about how if the Terminator, the T-800, could learn to love humanity, maybe humanity could learn to love humanity. What did we think about Terminator 2?
I mean, it's Terminator 2, right? It's one of those movies that's like everyone knows that it's good, and everyone has seen it a dozen times on TV throughout the years, but like it's still one of like the finest action movies ever made. Like front to back, this is incredible. Like as a movie, as what a sequel can be, as a work of science fiction and like film craftsmanship, like everything about this fucking thing is top notch. It's a movie that came out when I was like not even 1 year old, and I feel like I grew up like in the shadow of, like in every like video store, video game aisle, arcade, DVD shelf, every new home media format got Terminator 2 like almost immediately. I say got and not gets, because I don't think we're ever going to get a new physical format, even though the ones we have now are like insane relics. Like, why are we still using spinning optical discs when we have solid state formats? Movies should probably come on like USB sticks or SD cards, but no one can make that work because there's no longer a real home media market for anyone but psychos. I still covet the home media versions of this. There was the one that was in...
You're not ready for this conversation.
There was that one that was like a metal box, or like it was like a metal like wraparound thing for the Ultimate Edition. There was one that came in like a like the big fucking Terminator robot arm. I want all that shit. This movie's amazing. It's like never failed to work on me. I'm sure I've seen it like 25 times throughout my life. Just seeing the T2 logo massages my brain in a weird way. This is magnificent. I love this fucking movie so much. I don't know. I feel like I've never missed an opportunity to watch it, you know?
Yeah, I think this is superb. I was a little distracted this watch. I was thinking about James Cameron, and I'm like, wow, look at little Mr. Return on Investment. Look
Get his ass.
Look at Mr. Budget over here. Budget versus Windfall. He's incredible. I'll never forget Jennifer's screed about the type of women James Cameron attracts, draws into his orbit. He partnered with one of the most powerful producers on the planet, and yeah, I mean it's really amazing what he is able to accomplish here. Just in terms of like sheer spectacle, the explosions, the helicopter, the effects, which even though I think the liquid crystal is like a little dated or something, it works. I don't have a problem with it. But he brings like everything to the fore, and he knows how to like satisfy an audience. I think the movie takes like really great pains to be like incredibly kinetic. You're not stuck in a situation for very long. You're constantly given new things, new morsels, new explosions. new lines, new dialogue. Yeah, I mean, I think this film is really sold by. I'm sorry. What's John Connor's name?
Edward Furlong.
Eddie Furlong.
Edward Furlong and Linda Hamilton's performances. I think they're both fucking fantastic. I mean, Edward Furlong was born to play this role. Linda Hamilton was born to play Sarah Connor. I mean, it's really a condition of like lightning in a bottle. And of course, Schwarzenegger as the Terminator is crazy. I think this movie, like, in a curious way, softens the edges of the first one. It makes it like lighter and more palatable. There's jokes, there's hasta la vista baby, and which I think I don't mean to like come out the gate swinging against them. I just think it's a different type of movie with a different type of like end game, which is to be more popular than the movie that preceded it, and it succeeds. I mean, I really think it's a winning formula that he's distilled here. Yeah, and like everyone has said, like what we've already talked about is that like science fiction beats are like incredible. The time travel, the guns, like the stakes. It's like it's so goofy, and it shouldn't work, but it does work. Yeah. It's a gorgeous film. It's an exciting film. I think I prefer the first, but we can maybe talk about that later.
This is like if there was like a primordial soup that made me, there would be like 2 big helpings of this film in that soup. I saw this when I was a kid. It was probably one of the first VHS tapes that I had at home to watch regularly. I watched it constantly, so yeah, I don't know, 20 plus, 50 plus times probably. Like most kids will have like one of those Disney clamshell VHS tapes that they just burn out from rewatching.
Yeah, I'm kids.
For me, it was like Terminator 2 and RoboCop and Predators.
That rules. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I have a strong connection to this movie. I haven't revisited it for a while because I know it so well, but I had a really great time revisiting it for this episode tonight, and it was kind of revealing to me in certain ways too. But yeah, just to echo what's been said already, the craftsmanship behind the camera, the ideas brought through the film, the performances. Yeah, I agree. Linda Hamilton, she's insane in this role, and I feel like people don't mention that enough. Arnold is, kind of I was thinking about this, and it's like his best roles to me are the ones where he talks the least.
Yeah.
And I put this up there with that. I mean, I think he's awesome in this role, and he looks perfect. And James Cameron and I believe it was Adam Greenberg, who's the DP on this. They light all of these people so well.
So blue.
It sits like in my mind, like alongside like Jim Lee X-Men era artwork from the 90s, like these kind of same like vibes and aesthetics. But also, I of course, this is it's a science fiction action film, but when you watch it, it feels very real. Even though there's, one of the kind of big talking points was the computer effects that were used in the film. You get like everything in this. You get stop motion, you get rear projection, you get animatronics. Like everything is just thrown into this film to give you a very real feeling film, even though it's such a fantastical idea. And the movie, I mean, when I watched it this time, it made me feel like, oh wow, like an action movie that's like about something, like it makes you think about something beyond just it's an action movie. I feel like we haven't gotten something like that in a very long time. So yeah, I don't know, it's hard for me to separate my nostalgia from like being critical of the movie, but I love it. 5 stars for me, no spoiler there.
Just before I lose this train of thought, I agree, Carlos, that I think Schwarzenegger is best when he's like a compositional element in the frame more so than an actor. When he's a large man to frame a shot around, I think it's. No, he has a great physicality as the Terminator. But yeah, it's amazing that they can go like 35 minutes with him saying like two things and it slaps.
Yeah.
I really love this movie. I think I've only seen this maybe 3 times. But I did see it very young as well. So when I was a kid, which I don't know, might surprise some listeners considering how much I love horror. When I was a kid, I was very afraid of like scary movies and like that kind of thing. Like I was like actively like I had fear of them. And so I was at a friend's house who like didn't care about my feelings at all. And so we were watching this and, like it's not like scary per se, but when you're like 6, I don't know, stuff hits different. And the scene where the foster dad gets like impaled through the face with the arm left like a a fundamental scar on my young mind. It was very scary to me. So that's like the first thing I think of when I think about Terminator 2. It's like the combo of milk and blood together because he's like drinking out of the milk carton.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's what hits more than like the nuclear explosion sequence because I was a bit older than you guys, but that was something that just like seared into my brain.
I mean, seeing that now, like, I mean, that's like terrifying, just like existentially, right? Like, I mean, it is like that they have like all of the models like recast into those piles of ash that can like break apart and blow away. It's horrifying. Yeah, but I think this is so much fun. Like, all of the action is so amazing. I mean, like this isn't the first James Cameron movie we've talked about on here. Like, the man can put together a movie like nobody's business. Usually. So like the visual storytelling is out of control. The effects I think they're super fun. Like even the ones that feel a little dated, like the sphere that the Terminator and the T-1000 travel back in time in. I think that might have been one of the clumsiest visual effects. There's like that, like, you know what I mean? It just kind of like appears on screen and it kind of sucks a little bit. But like, I mean, there's just so much cool stuff. Like, I was really blown away by the scene where the Terminator like degloves himself so he can like flex the robot arm to convince Dyson that he's real. And I was like, damn, that looks awesome. Like everything about that just looks awesome. So yeah, I mean, I really have nothing bad to say about it. I really like the movie, and I think what you were kind of saying, Carlos, it's like watching this, this came out in 91, so this is the year that I was born, to see how far like I don't know a better phrase for this except for like cinematic Overton window has shifted, where like now movies can't be about big blockbuster movies can't be about anything at all. Right. It's so depressing. Like I talked about this on the show. I think I just saw Thunderbolts, which is like the latest Marvel movie, I think. And it was like okay or whatever, but it's so not about like fucking anything at all.
That was about depression.
Well, yeah, it's about fighting depression and how like you should have friends. But it's like in the least cool, but like in the least cool way possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's just like but like I don't know, like it was shocking to like watch something like this that like clearly has like a point of view. It has like broad political valence as opposed to having like a political like agenda, maybe we should be more concerned about nuclear armaments. Maybe we shouldn't create technology that leads us closer to destruction. And now every movie's like, isn't it cool how good the military is? We love the army, don't we, folks?
I'm just a little older than you guys, but I was probably around the age of John Connor when this movie came out. And I also, as a kid, was scared of scary movies, but I did end up seeing some. And so I wasn't as familiar with the first Terminator outside of it being like, be scared of the Terminator, like it's going to kill you. Mm-hmm. And but when this movie came out, I had a strong understanding that, this is a sequel to this movie where I'm supposed to be scared of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator. And they play on your expectations And I mean, the movie became so famous and popular that everybody knows that he's like the good guy. But I have a strong memory of as a kid not knowing that and being surprised that that was the case in this movie.
Oh, they got you.
Yeah, but like it was a thing too where, you know, when they would show you know how they show trailers for well, back in the day they would show trailer for a movie and it would show you enough. Sometimes they would show you a lot in a trailer, but sometimes they wouldn't show you that much. But then once the movie was released in theaters, like maybe after a couple of weeks or a month, then they would show you trailers with like a lot more from the movie, like, hey, I guess we can show you more now.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
You started to see trailers where you understood, oh, he's like the good guy. But I thought it was a kind of a cool thing. And I don't think people talk about that too much, but I was surprised when I first saw this movie that it was like, whoa, wait a second, he's the good guy now.
I owned the DVD of this when I was a teenager, when I was really into like audio commentaries. And if you listen to it, James Cameron and I think his name's William Wisher is the co-writer. Openly lament that like no one was surprised by the twist, because every interview that like Arnold would do, the first thing would be like, oh, so you play a good guy in this one as opposed to the bad guy, and they'd be like, fuck, you know, like, so they designed it with that kind of like twist in mind. And if you the movie does play it like that too, actually in a really cool way, where like the T-1000 is like a cop, and you think you can like kind of like trust a cop, but James Cameron is also very clearly anti-cop if you've seen Strange Days. So it's like kind of like oh, you think you can trust him? No, you can't. He's LAPD too, you know, like so they clearly like bake so much of that into the beginning, but you know.
That goes away like once they meet John Connor.
Yeah.
But like even that, like up to that moment, you're like, uh-oh.
That expectation that the cop is going to be the savior. I mean, it's really remarkable. I mean, Cameron got the idea, so he claims, for Strange Days after Rodney King, and the biker bar, where the biker bar brawl is filmed, that's just right across the way from where that happened.
Whoa!
So he has this very interesting, ironic disposition in the beginning, where only upon like a second viewing do you understand, when the camera lingers on "Protect and Serve" on the LAPD car, to be like deeply ironic, because he's about to go in and mercilessly kill the foster parents. So like that. I wonder that myself, like what it would have been like to not know that. I'm not sure if I ever didn't know that. The water's like too muddy. But that idea of this guy's I'm always so bad with names. He's also in the X-Files. He plays a suit.
Robert
and
Patrick.
He's fantastic. I mean, he has this affectless like fascism thing happening. You know, he's like perfectly manicured. He his hair, you know, his like features, he's like this like Aryan kind of like perfection. You know, and like beneath this kind of like when he does have lines which are like kind of polite, like, oh, that's a good looking boy, and like that's a nice bike. And shit like that is just a
they're
robotic.
all chilling.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like it's that thing that like is often described by like people that had close encounters with serial killers. It's like, oh, he said something to me that is notionally normal, but the way that he said it made me want to crawl out of my skin. You know, it also a beautifully cast role, which, you know, is such an, it comes to this elegant head in the hallway of you know, this like mall or whatever, this like back hallway where this poor motherfucker gets cut down by the fake cop that just happens to be in the way. But there's like this John Woo-esque like Arnold Schwarzenegger has the shotgun in some roses, in a box full of roses, which is so you know, it's incredible that moment of like, you know, child between what's happening. We know that like these two figures are going to meet, and when they do, it's like explosive, and no pun intended, and like
Get
their
down.
dynamic. Yeah, and their dynamic, like we said, I completely agree with the idea that Schwarzenegger is best when he doesn't talk, which is also a reason I'm realizing now why Predator is fantastic, because he really doesn't talk. Everyone kind of like dies fairly quickly, and even when they're alive, he's a man of few words. It's perfect. He's just fighting an alien. Yeah, but this rivalry between what in Matrix Reloaded, Keanu Reeves says upgrades upon fighting the first agent because they have to move the goalposts. But it's this really elegant, like we have this old school Terminator, and he's on equal footing, but at perhaps a slight disadvantage to a man who can turn his arms into knives. Their dynamic is one of like pure cinematic delight, right? It's guns, it's explosions, it's combat between each other. So where we have like the groundedness in Linda Hamilton and Mother of God, What Is Wrong with My Brain, you have Schwarzenegger v Liquid Metal, and it's like that relationship plays out in so many fascinating ways throughout the movie. It's never the same thing twice, right? It's like helicopter, it's shotgun, it's grenade launcher, it's hand to hand, which Schwarzenegger kind of fails at the end there, clearly being bested. But there's a kind of like rhythm to these two kind of opposing forces that like sustains like the action element in this way that's just like so deliriously satisfying. But yeah, it's clever. It's really devilish. Like Josh said, it's valent in a broad way, but clearly my man has some feelings about cops. And interestingly enough, like the only innocent people that fall are victims of evil cop, which I think is important to note as well.
Yep. Sorry, because that scene was so chilling. Like, imagine that you are, I don't know, this perhaps slightly shitty but reasonably normal working class couple. All right, and the dead-eyest cop of all time comes to your house, and he's like, "Hey, can I have a picture of your foster son? By the way, very handsome. Can I keep the photo?" And then you're just like.
And you kind of don't care. You're like, yeah, sure. We don't want to see that photo ever again.
Yeah, I hate that kid. Yeah, who cares?
You want
that
more
scene's
photos
crazy.
of him?
No, it's sort of going back to what Carlos said a little while ago, because I think I've only seen the first Terminator once. I think maybe Jen and I watched it together. I definitely didn't see it when I was a kid.
It's possible. I've seen it a bunch of times.
Yeah, like, because Terminator 2 is the one I saw as a child, so like I forgot that the Terminator's like a bad guy in the first one, and I'm like, why is Sarah Connor so like upset? Like he's just he's being so nice, and I forgot that in the first one he's not nice.
He's not a liquid metal guy in the first one.
Yeah, he's definitely not not your son's colossal imaginary friend he's carting around Los Angeles with him.
I think this is a really good sequel, and it seems to me like James Cameron, like there's I don't know how much of it is apocryphal story of him pitching Aliens and him writing Alien on the like chalkboard and then adding an S to it and then adding 2 lines through the S to be a $sign, and that was the entirety of his pitch. But he had a really good kind of track record of doing that. He did the same thing. He co-wrote Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then like I think it was basically taken over and mostly rewritten by Sylvester Stallone. But like both those movies, and to some extent Terminator 2, are like taking these like very like kind of like stripped down like genre movies and like turning them into like gigantic blockbusters. Because like if you I mean, Alien I think was a pretty big movie, but like Aliens is like a crowd pleaser very much in comparison to Alien. Rambo 2 is like a big action movie set in the jungle as opposed to like a guy picking off cops in like the woods or whatever. And then like this is like, you know, so much of like the like suspense kind of terror stuff from the first one is gone, and it's mostly like a collection of fantastic action set pieces and stuff. Like I love Terminator 1, but like there's nothing like the car chases in Terminator 2 in Terminator 1, or you know, like not like you like there like Arnold Schwarzenegger climbs up on the hood of that set of the liquid nitrogen truck and then just like unloads a goddamn like M16 point blank into the T-1000. Like that's nothing like that happens in Terminator 1. But I think this is like such like a cool kind of like escalation, and with it like kind of expanding on the themes and everything. Like I guess I was curious, like, you know, how do you guys feel about it like as a sequel? Because I think it's really cool.
Yeah. For me, it's hard to think of a better sequel. Taking the ideas from the first film and at the same time expanding upon, but also rearranging it to make it feel fresh and kind of pull you into a sequel in a way that he wanted this to be it. Like he wanted Terminator 2 to be the end of it, but you know, it was so successful that they wanted more out of it. And when you watch the movie, that's what you want. You know, you're like, okay, they did it, but this was so good. Like, what are we gonna see next?
You think you want more.
Unfortunately, that is what happened.
Sorry, they gave us a hot Terminator. I don't know why you're complaining.
Terminatrix, I think they called her.
I'm here to see all the new Terminator things, but
I think I've seen all of them. I never saw Salvation, but the rest of them, unfortunately, I did see.
Yeah, the idea that, like I said, the subversion of understanding how this T-800 is now the protector, but then you also get the idea of this kind of found family. You know, they're in this struggle together, and the idea of changing the future. And you know, Sarah Connor in a way is like almost like, I'm not like the Terminator, but you know, like she's the one that's like the cold-blooded killer that's willing to do what, you know, that what could change, you know, the timeline. And you know, John Connor being this kind of like insert. I mean, like I said, I was like the same age as this kid, and he's like, I don't know, like live action Bart Simpson. And but like all of these ideas kind of put in the thing, and they give you just enough. Like if you watch the first movie and you watch this, you get just enough, either their line drops or, you know, some characters like Silberman, the like the mental health guy, he's in this movie too. And yeah, I don't know, it's amazing to me. And you know, the idea that he not only was able to put together kind of a compelling story with all of this, and what seemed like it was a short amount of time. I think they said they put it together in like 2 months. They wrote the script. And then the idea that he's able to basically pull, like, we haven't mentioned Stan Winston, but Stan Winston is like fucking legend. He needs to be mentioned. And it's not just him, though. It's like ILM and all these other like effects studios that got together to do so many different things. Like, I mean, I have to restate it. You know, they use miniatures. They use like rear projection in really cool ways, like, and the CG, I think, you know, you could kind of like talk about it in a way, but I think it all fits the narrative and it fits in the world that you're seeing. Like this liquid metal idea like works really well. And I mean that sequence with the nuclear like explosion is just like, it almost looks like stock footage that you see from nuclear explosion tests. And they made like this oversized like miniature set to do that. And you know, the liquid nitrogen, like that T-1000 like collapsing into a million pieces,
so cool,
is insane. Like how cool it looks. What you mentioned, Jennifer, about the T-800 hopping out of the truck onto the semi, like that's like a real stunt guy doing that. That's not like
it turns into Fury Road for like 5 seconds.
There's like they literally like flew a helicopter under a regular overpass, and they were talking about not doing it, and the helicopter pilot's like, no, I'm gonna do it. So they did it like twice. That's insane. There's a shot of that same helicopter after that, like nearly clipping a pedestrian bridge. Like it's like, I don't know, 10 feet away from it. The idea that they went so hard in all of the effects and the action sequences for this, I mean, really, it deserves its legendary status. And it's actually one of these things where for a long time I liked this movie so much that I didn't want to know a lot about the effects work. But then when I eventually did, it made it seem like magic even more that they were able to do all of this. So yeah, I really nerd out on this movie. it's really good.
There are moments where like Arnold shoots the T-1000 in the head outside of the elevator in the mental hospital, and there's like a puppet of like his head all fucking exploded and stuff, and you see it for like maybe 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like someone spent like weeks modeling, meticulously hand painting that thing with, you know, like to get it to match and for everything for this scene. And you see it for like a second. And I was just thinking, like, we are robbed now.
Yeah.
we don't, they are robbing us of fun times at the movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I also want to respond to the power of Cameron's sequels, but that was what struck me the most about watching this time. Was like, movies used to be such an endeavor, and I mean, obviously, like, you know, in 2025, like, there are all sorts of like VFX artists that make these giant Marvel cartoons, you know, attempt to emulate reality. So like, I don't want to say it's not happening now, but it was a different kind of very tactile artistry that you just see less and less. And like every 49-year-old guy with a podcast is complaining about this. And yes, however, like,
they're
it's just
right.
like, yeah, like stopped clocks are right twice a day. You know what I mean? Like the fact that like just like there is, they blew up an entire office floor in this movie. It was like they were driving all of these like ridiculous vehicles like on highways in those like culverts in LA all over the place. It looks so fucking good. And then like Carlos was saying earlier, like there's like there is some of that ILM stuff. Like I watched some part of some ILM documentary where they did the part where the T-1000 goes through like the bars in the mental hospital.
Oh yeah.
And so like you do have the computer effects, but you also have all of that great prosthetic work, like when they're scooping the brain out of the Terminator before John can convince Sarah not to destroy it. Like there's just so much fucking like craft here that you just don't get anymore, because everything has to be made as cheaply as possible, relatively speaking, right? There's just not budget to make a like Jennifer was saying, like a replica of Schwarzenegger's head for like 2 seconds or whatever. Like it's just not something that like people want to spend money on very much. But like you can't argue with the results. Like it's totally
why do we
worth
go
it.
to movies?
Yeah, I go to movies to be like, wow, that looks pretty much identical to how that would probably look in person.
Damn, that looks like a guy, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, and not to get too far off this movie, but like I just saw Star Wars. I've only seen the Star Wars movie. I just saw Return of the Jedi for the very first time. Okay, but Empire Strikes Back and the first one I think I've maybe seen once or twice before. I don't have a long history with the movies. I don't have any nostalgia for them. But my boyfriend really loves them, so we watch them. And like I think the movies are whatever, but they are so fun to watch. They are so fun to look at because everything is so tactile. And again, every old guy is talking about this, but they're right. Like I want to see you blow up an office building.
Yeah.
Give me office buildings.
Did you watch the despecialized version?
No, sadly we didn't. And you can, and like when they go over to like the re-edited like recomposited like modern effects, they just suck ass. Like give me the Yoda Muppet.
Yeah.
Don't make me look at CGI Boba Fett or Jabba the Hutt one more time. Give me the puppets. I want to see the puppets.
I want to give Terminator 2 some credit where, like, if you look at it now, like the like liquid metal Capri Sun effect or whatever is like, it's like you can. It looks like early computer graphics, but like that looked a lot better than like the effects in like Lawnmower Man did. You know, like the stuff that came like years after this looked worse sooner than Terminator 2 did. Yeah, I remember watching this movie in like the mid 2000s and being like, oh, that actually holds up pretty well. Like until like the advent of like HD, whenever you would watch Terminator 2 or like Jurassic Park, you'd be like, oh yeah, it looks great. You know, like, well, incredible job. And like now, because we can see like every a JPEG compression artifact on every texture. Some of the stuff has started to age quite a bit, but like it held like shouts out for holding up as long as it did.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it looks good. Like I love the part where right before he falls into the pit of metal, the Terminator hits him with that explosive gun. I don't know what it is. I'm very butch, as you can tell, but like he shoots. Whatever. He shoots him with those real fat bullets. You know what I mean? The real
grenade
chunky
launcher.
I can tell you about different kinds of shoes. I don't know anything about guns. So he gets shot, and then but he's like this like twisted like fucked up version from the blast. Yeah. That looks so fucking cool, right? Puppets. I love it.
For me, I think it's just that they use so many different techniques in this film, and I think when the CG effects show up for T-1000, which that's the only thing they really use it for, they don't use it for anything else. So you see it as like a signature of this character, and it's always this metallic reflection, and anytime there needs to be that reflection recognized, they do that. Like when he pours into the helicopter, you see the guy's reflection on him, or but so it's tactile in that virtual way, I guess. Yeah, I mean,
it's also very specifically something you couldn't really do with practical effects at that point.
Yeah. You mentioned like the Marvel movies, and I mean, Stan Winston's last gift to us was that Iron Man suit in that first Iron Man movie. So like you can honestly argue that those wouldn't be what they are without Stan Winston also. But it's so easy to get sucked into just talking about all the cool stuff about this movie. You mentioned the scene where they're going into the T-800's head, and this was also a thing for me as a kid. I would hear like a rumor like there's an extended version of this movie with all these extra scenes, and what it originally came from was like the Laserdisc. I believe the Laserdisc had like the extra scenes in them, and I hadn't seen that. I never actually saw it until probably like I don't know, like mid 2000s, late 2000s. And seeing that was insane. Like it's not like other films where to me it's like, oh, I understand why they took this out, or that there's that scene that you mentioned where they're kind of doing like an operation on the T-800 and they have to shut him down. And there's actually like some insane like special effects there, and that's the whole thing where they have like Linda Hamilton's twin sister.
Yeah.
Shot. Like that's just like these really ingenious things that they just went through, and like that was cut for like, I don't know, I guess for time or something, because the movie's like over 2 hours. I think it's maybe like 2:15, 2:20.
Yeah, 2:17.
But to me, yeah, it's paced really well, and it moves on a clip. But I don't know, it's just like one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, was that scene with Kyle Reese?
Yeah, they cut that out. Yeah, you have this like very meaty scene, and she's like, yeah, we're gonna cut it.
The old Sarah Connor ending.
Yeah, that I actually think is interesting. And actually, when I watched it this time, I realized two things. One, that highway shot is like when they're arriving at Cyberdyne.
Yeah.
Like that's like the kind of the same shot, I guess, or B-roll that they didn't use. And then the other thing I realized, and I can't believe I never understood until now, is they destroy everything, but the T-800's arm gets ripped off, so they don't show them destroy that. And I was like, whoa, wait a second.
Fuck.
I just realized something after a very long time. I can't believe I never noticed that. But
damn, Judgment Day was inevitable. Terminator 3 was right.
Yeah.
I do have a couple other things that I wanted to mention to you guys. Did you guys ever watch, at Universal Studios there was a Terminator 2 like ride? Oh yeah. And
I know of it, but I never was privileged enough to go on it.
Me either. I never went on it, but now there's a bunch of people that have like done cam rips, or like there's even like HD rips of that footage, and James Cameron directed that, and it stars like the core cast. It's one of these like 3D rides where you'd sit in a theater and put on glasses, and you can tell very much so that it's like there's stuff popping out at you every 25 seconds. But it's kind of cool to see that. It's kind of a pseudo like kind of mini like follow up to the movie. Doesn't have any bearing really, it's just a ride, but it's pretty cool to see that. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you guys is did you know that Edward Furlong at this time had like an album of music that released in Japan only?
Holy shit,
I did, but I think you told me that.
Oh, it's like a pop album. Like they were trying to turn him into like a little teeny bopper heartthrob.
Yeah, it's crazy considering how the rest of his life went.
Yeah. Yeah, because like they really like scooped him up. He had no acting experience. They just thought he looked good and he just was perfect for the role.
Yeah, they like straight up street casted him, right? Like he was like waiting in line for a movie or something, and then they just kind of like went up and like, hey, you're exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I mean, they got pretty lucky with that.
God,
that's
is incredible.
Crazy. Yeah, the album. It's called Hold On Tight.
I do. But hold on tight. I do just want to just because especially because the idea of the sequel gets so much guff, and I would say in most cases deservedly so. But yeah, there is something about Cameron. I don't know. There's something about him where he seems to know. Okay, in many cases, he seems to be able to identify what it is about a series or a property that like makes it work. And sort of like we're talking about with Terminator 2 and Aliens, find a way to, I guess, like plus it without sort of like undermining the original. Because I mean, like for me, Aliens they're such different films, and it sounds like this is quite a bit more of like again, I don't remember Terminator well, but it seems like this is a much more of like an over the top action movie compared to Terminator, based on what Jennifer is saying. So like it kind of seems like he's able to sort of identify in some sort of way like what the core tenets are that work, and find a way to make an even bigger spectacle out of them. I think he did the same with the Avatar sequel. Like I guess technically I didn't see Avatar, but I thought Avatar 2 was extremely fun, and it's like, yep, those are blue people. I'm having a good time with that. So I mean, it seems like a talent that he definitely has in his like tool belt there.
Yeah, I guess the idea of having Sarah Connor be in a mental hospital was Linda Hamilton's. It was like one of her stipulations was she wanted to play like a crazy person, so she could kind of stretch her acting abilities and stuff.
Yeah,
go off, Queen.
Yeah, that's perfect. Because like she's like the damsel in distress in the first film.
Yeah,
and I mean, how would you react to surviving something like that and being given the information of the future? You would go crazy. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really believable arc, right? Like she is a waitress in the first one. She lives with a roommate. She has this kind of normal life. And I do adore what the film does here. the nuclear explosion nightmare sequence, when she's looking through the chain fence, she's seeing herself styled very much in the way that she's styled in the first film, with her hair in the exact same way as the first film. Which is to say, much more 80s. But in this film, she's decked out like she's about to go do something a real whoopsie, a real bad time for the CIA somewhere. Which is but it scans, right. It's a completely the Sarah Connor of one, being told and believing that she has is impregnated with and is giving birth to the future leader of human resistance against a machine army. I think there's like a number of ways you can take that, and the one that she took is like, I am now a militant, which is like so like satisfying. The kind of like, I mean, the what demands an action film like makes on like characters is that they're gonna have to have an interest in like guns and explosions at some point. And like the moment where she accesses her stash out in the desert. Also, apparently, she's been keeping safe the coolest pair of sunglasses ever.
Oh my god!
That are round but have this like steampunk thing where they kind of like the glass extends like slightly down the fucking stem of the glasses. But I think the arc that she has here of being at once incredibly aware that everything that she's saying is perceived as insane, but she knows it intuitively to be true because she's lived it, and having this relationship with her son wherein she I think one of the most like effective emotional beats between mother and son is when she's like, after John has successfully broken her out of the institution, which she absolutely would not have escaped from without their help. She's like, why the fuck did you do that? You're a fucking idiot. I hate you. Like in no uncertain terms does she register her displeasure and does not like apologize for her behavior. She's become this kind of like this human being that's been like, again, like abused and distorted in a way that of course someone bearing the knowledge that she bears would be like, once you have you have the oppression of like the state manifest in this kind of singular cop who does murder, and then you have the oppression of this fucking like this wormy little bastard, this perfect like pencil pusher who keeps her captive, keeps her drugged and so on. And the orderlies, I mean, she really is, this portrait of a woman under like state and like biological like control. She's insane because she's a woman in a lot of respects, right? Like that's how she's perceived and that's how she's categorized. And it's not only something that the character endures, but it's become part of like her fabric until that breaking point where she cannot execute what is essentially an innocent man in front of his wife and child. Like that's such a like that might be the most like I think effective emotional beat like in general, is when she can't kill. She has primed and has trained, she's imbibed, she knows fully the consequences of what it means for this man to continue to be alive, but she can't kill him because she's not a Terminator. She's a human being, and she understands, like John Connor intuitively understands, to kill is like intuitively morally like wrong. And there's like reflections in the film about like there's the two kids playing with the toy guns, and John Connor's like, it's in our nature, or the Terminator. Oh, fuck, I wish I had the line in front of me, but it's like we're not going to make it, right?
Or to
and it's
destroy
like,
yourselves.
humans are programmed to destroy themselves, and it's like, oh yeah, shit. But like Sarah kind of proves that point like wrong, right? She kind of like nullifies it. And I think her voiceover in the film is really it could really not work. It could be hammy and like not effective, but I think it really helps give the film where it needs it, like a touch of the interpersonal, the intimate, and like the human, because otherwise it's just a bunch of fucking explosions. Like it really, I mean, it airs, the film is weighted heavily towards the explosion. I mean, because like Cameron has cracked the code of like what an audience wants. Like he in defiance of everyone's expectations, anyone's like kind of clear rational thought was like, I'm gonna make millions and billions of dollars on these blue people, and everyone's like, you're a fucking idiot, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna eat those fucking words, bitch, in hell. And everyone did.
By the way, I'm gonna make 27 of these.
They spent like
reality
15 years
bends around
after the first one. There was a 15-year fucking gap to that second one, and the whole time everyone was like, LOL, remember Avatar? Are they really gonna make another one? Oh my god, it's going to bomb so hard. Even early episodes of this show were doing that. And then like as soon as that trailer came out, I was like, son of a bitch, he's gonna do it again. And then he did it again. And I don't know, Jim don't miss, I guess.
Yeah, and it really is a testament to reality bending around him, like reality bending around his will. It's a remarkable feat. But all that to say is that the film is synthesized to be delightful, right? And all the like satisfying kinetic moments, like when things explode or whatever.
Memorable on-screen violence is something that I would say that he is just uniquely gifted at, of like giving you an image that you'll like remember forever, even if it's like the guy falling off the back of the Titanic and hitting the blade on the way down.
Right.
Yeah. Or I mean, even in this film, I always think about the truck driver getting pulled out of his semi by the T-1000, and he hits his head on the pavement. I'm like, that stuntman did not want to do that.
No. They talk about that I remember they talk about that in the commentary as well. I pointed out to my girlfriend while we were watching it together. It's like, watch, he's gonna hit his head really fucking hard.
Oh man.
And they use the take.
Leave it in the movie.
Yeah. I mean you did it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. What he's paid for.
We got the shot.
The other
Ripped
thing
to you, I guess.
Yeah, Craig, you mentioned synthesized, and I think the soundtrack by Brad Fiedel, the guy, he also did the first Terminator, but it's like a straight up like synthesizer through this whole soundtrack, and that's one thing. But I also, one of the things I noticed this time I watched it is that I think like everything in this movie is Foley work. I don't think there are like hardly any like real camera sounds or like of effects, like footsteps, guns reloading, like everything sounds like Foley work, but it works really well to me. And I guess it also kind of plants a signature on this film, like something I can't think of otherwise. But it really stood out to me this time, and I think they were incredibly successful, but I just had not noticed it up until this rewatch.
Yeah, I know that most of John Connor's dialogue is ADR'd as well, because his voice changed while they were filming it. And so to get everything to match, they had to like bring him back in to like dub over most of his lines.
That's awesome. Whoops.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about Terminator 2? I feel that we could talk forever about Terminator 2.
Probably, right? This is every aspect of it is interesting. Yeah. If you just want to see an action movie where like every part of it is just firing on all cylinders, I don't think you can go wrong. I still love this movie. I could have done this episode and not watched it again. And I would have said the exact same stuff because I just have this movie just completely memorized. But like, why would I turn down an opportunity to watch it again? So I watched it again. I had a great time. Oh, there's a 35 millimeter scan of it going around online. That's like really fucking fun.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Maybe seek that out.
Josh, he asked me to be on this recording, and it was a kind of a quick turnaround. And I said to him, if it was any other movie, I would need more time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this really worked out for my poor planning.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the new 4K is controversial because it uses a lot of like grain removal.
I was gonna ask because Cameron's his remastering has been a little critical, right? Lately?
Yeah. He wants everything to look as like perfect as possible. Perfect is in quotes, like like film grain defects or soft focus or anything. He wants everything to be as if it was shot digitally today, and that's like kind of his ethos going into remastering a lot of his movies. So like in particular True Lies, the most recent remaster of that, and I'm sure probably the last remaster of that, if I'm being honest, highly controversial with audio psychos or video psychos, sorry. I've
heard a lot of people talking about them.
We'll probably watch it later in the summer. Nice.
Brad Feidel does the soundtrack for that as well.
He rules. I love that guy. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the do fucking man. God damn, dude. This movie's perfect.
I have a thing.
Oh yeah.
Both Matthew and Marty gave me Emoji for this movie.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Yep. So the first emoji, I'll go through Matthew's first. He gave me the sweating red face with the tongue out. He said that's when Sarah Connor is on screen for him.
That's also when Sarah Connor is on screen for James Cameron.
Yeah,
who,
that's right.
I believe married her briefly after this.
That's right. The next one, he has a set of 4. It's the robot face, the gun emoji, the shocked face, and the cigarette. And he says that's the scene where the T-1000 walks through the bars.
That is such a long shot, by the way, to be like, wow, incredible cock on this robot. Like the hog they put on this a cybertronic individual is crazy.
Marty sent me 3 sets. He says, first of all, the true villain, and it's a doctor smock and a hospital emoji.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, the scene I never forget, and it's knife and robot arm emoji. I agree with that. And then he says, where even alphas sob, and it's hook, fire, and thumbs up emoji. Shout outs to my bros.
Yeah, everyone
we love the
Heroes 3.
We love the homies. Yeah.
I love that.
Well,
thank you so much for doing that. We haven't had an emoji corner in I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah, a whole pandemic
6
happened.
Years. Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Bringing back the classics.
I gave this movie 5 stars. I think it's a pretty good movie.
Easily 5 stars for me.
4. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really great. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, 5 stars for me.
I'm gonna say 3-1. We overrule Craig's show rating 5 stars.
I will expose my teeth like a chimpanzee expressing submission.
Listeners, you're all invited to join us in the flogging courtyard where we'll be moving Craig to right after this.
What are those things where like the wrists and the head go through and they can't move, and then everyone pelts tomatoes and
those are the
rocks?
stocks.
The stocks. we'll be bringing out the stocks again for Craig.
We're gonna invent the first real life Iron Maiden just for Craig.
Now who's only 4 stars, you jock douchebag?
That would be. Sorry, getting called a jock douchebag while I'm like dying would be such a bizarre experience.
Of rock-based head trauma.
Do we have any questions?
Oh, yeah, we have a question from Naji Kirima. What would the most fun genre of movie be, or genre to combine with an erotic thriller? Personally, I'd go with a kaiju themed erotic thriller.
Whoa.
Which sounds awesome, and it sounds like someone with those people with the like giant lady fetish would be like way into that.
It sounds like a Takashi Miike film.
Like a Roger Corman film.
Yeah.
I want to see. I don't think we've done this. I want to see like a Western erotic thriller, but I want it to be like one of those Westerns that gets kind of like weird with it, where like it's often about what like big empty spaces does to an MF.
Oh, like an acid Western.
Yeah. I want like a Western erotic thriller, but it's a little upsetting with it. That's my pick.
See, my first instinct is to go like, there hasn't been like a musical one, but I think you'd like way too quickly fall into like Nurse 3D territory where like you don't really know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah, but I still want to see that.
But I still want to see them sing about finding the ghoul box.
Oh my God, the Ghoul Box song. Ooh, the villain song of the Ghoul musical would be insane.
Yeah, that would be worth it. Just even though I don't think the project would be successful overall, the villain song would be top fucking notch. She sings about how risk addicted she is.
I don't know. I feel like a spy caper might be a good setting for an erotic thriller. Not like a Bond thing, more like a John le Carré novel type, like spy thriller.
Ooh, yes, dude.
Something like period even. I think that could be a very rich in romance and intrigue and stalking, and like a spy who's like really good at being a spy. Good. Right? Like he's good at all the things that a spy is good at, which is like, imagine if James Bond was a different type of pervert, Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Cock. Exactly. That's a great idea. Yes, exactly.
Well, my first thought was a musical, but I don't know enough to know if there wasn't one. I mean, more in my wheelhouse, I guess. I was thinking maybe like a ninja type erotic thing, because like I think most of the time women are just like objectified in like ninja cinema, like especially because it would lean towards like pink film stuff like that. Yeah. But I think that there's really a lot of room to explore if you were to do it right, to do an erotic thriller that just wasn't about like the exploitation of it all.
Yes, I love that idea.
There's a couple of films that I think are pushing close to that, but nothing that I think you could just call like an erotic thriller, but just focusing on like ninja magic and stuff.
I think you could have some kind of like torture porn erotic thriller, like a Hostel kind of thing, where the victim gets like more and more fucked up physically as the movie goes on. I don't know if it could sustain for longer than like 85 minutes, but
I'd watch that too. Folks, I would watch all of these avidly.
Yeah. What's funny is like I'm thinking that too, because like I was thinking like, oh man, like Mecha like stuff is always like the kind of like really generic like booby lady or a sexy robot pilot. It's like, no, there could actually be like an awesome like Mecha trope, like erotic thriller.
like Catherine Trammell in
Carlos.
a mech suit.
Yes.
I want that so bad.
We're talking about robots combining, right? Like,
Yeah.
why can't that just be like an erotic thriller version of that?
Yeah, look, what if every robot has like a different power they bring to combining, but no one knows what hers is?
Yeah.
You know?
Or,
Yeah.
you know, like, how dare you combined with them?
Right.
The cuck robot formation.
Oh yeah, it's like yandere, like giant robot stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Also, but also a world where it feels really good to combine robots.
Yeah.
Carlos, you're a genius, I fear.
It's like the gigabots, they fuck each other.
You know, we take these tropes for granted. There's like room to explore this stuff, right? Like,
That's what I'm saying.
There's
That's what
erotic thrillers.
Every week I say this.
Yeah, we don't need another a shot of Michael Douglas getting sucked off in a helicopter or whatever. we can break new ground still.
Yeah. If you ever want to make a movie about getting sucked off by your secretary, stop. Don't touch. Make the one about how good the ecstasy of metal on metal.
yes. Yes, absolutely.
What if
when
just Tetsuo the Iron Man?
What if when the Power
Yeah, it
Rangers
is.
came together, they all like fucked in their little little individual cars?
You can't see it because the podium thing is there, but they're all getting sucked off by their mech robot arm, leg, torso, whatever. The robots suck them off while they're doing it. They don't tell you that part.
Thank you, Naji Kiram. That's a really good question.
Yeah, that was fun.
Carlos, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Against all odds, you are willing to continually donate your time to us, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you for bringing your knowledge and experience of Terminator 2 with you.
It was easy. It was passive.
Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so I'll point you towards Heroes 3, the podcast that I do with Matthew and Marty about every other week. And you can find us at Heroes, the number 3 podcast on most social media and anywhere you can get podcasts pretty much. And yeah, this we're kind of running parallel to you guys. I'm really excited for our summer arc. We're going to be doing like Hollywood blockbusters, but in Asian cinema. So films that are riffing on popular blockbusters of different types. So we also just had you on, Josh, to start this arc in a way because you joined us to talk about Riding Bean. And if that episode isn't out by the time this comes out, it will be out. And check it out. It was a super fun time. And likewise, I love having all you guys on our show, and you're all welcome whenever you want.
Please. I'd love to come on again.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
You can find SwimFans wherever you get your podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you are listening. Give us a rating, give us a subscribe, give us a review, tell a friend, all that fun stuff. Please do so. And you can find the show on all the social medias. So that's Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd, and that's Use Just Swim Fans Pod, swimfanspod.com on Blue Sky. Give us a follow over there. And you can find me all the same spots, user Amons, AMONNS. I sort of already buried the lead or spoiled what I was going to say earlier. I watched all the Star Wars movies, the first 3. They're fine. I think they're good. But I saw Return of the Jedi for the first time, so maybe I'll talk about that one. Yeah, I like that Return of the Jedi is very puppet heavy. The first 35 minutes are just puppets. That made me feel nice. I like to see puppets on screen. There's a little blue guy in Jabba's entourage, and I love him. Wait, hold on. I want to show you guys my new favorite guy. I keep sending him to everybody, but anyway, the movies are good. I don't have a ton of nostalgia for them. I didn't see them. But they mean a lot to Matt, so I was happy to share that with him. Jennifer.
You can follow me on Blue Sky Diatron5 and on Letterboxd Diatron. Recently, I rewatched Brian Usna's Return of the Living Dead 3, which on the subject of like combining genres is like a zombie romance tragedy, which is like a really, really cool idea. And if like someone with a little more visual style and who is a little less kind of workmanlike, although I love Brian Usna, I think he does have a unique cinematic vision, but it's very campy. And I think if someone actually took the material and like maybe even the same script seriously, I think that it could have actually been something like incredibly special. But as it stands, it's just kind of good. It's weirdly good for the third Return of the Living Dead movie. Craig.
You can find me at Craig Neeson on Instagram and Letterboxd, craigneeson.com. I watched Orson Welles' adaptation of Franz Kafka's The Trial.
How was that?
It got some really crazy cinematography. Like the entire film is shot at everyone's waist with a super wide angle, which imparts this like bizarre, surreal quality to the entire film. Anthony Perkins kills it. I can't imagine a better person portraying Joseph K. I feel like it leans a little bit too heavy into the silly and the slapsticky. And like Orson Welles is in the film because Orson Welles has an outsized idea about himself as a creator. And because Orson Welles has an outsized idea of himself as a creator, the character that he plays has an outsized presence in the film. And it's like, why are we spending so much time with this fucking character? It's you. It's you in a bed, and it's awful. It's like, why are you doing this? And like, it comes with the treachery of Orson Welles, adding his own 2 cents to what is essentially, perfect literature. So very quickly, and this is, sorry if I'm spoiling 12th grade lit for everyone, but like, when Joseph K dies in the end, he's executed. He's like just summarily brought to a rock quarry by 2 agents and stabbed. And Joseph K says like a dog, and then he dies. So in Orson Welles' genius version, the 2 agents bring him to a rock quarry. They pass the knife around, and he's like, "Oh, you guys want me to do it myself? You want me to kill myself?" And they're like, "Oh, damn! Like you totally called our bluff." And like he's all smug about it. They scamper up to the top of the rock quarry. They light a stick of dynamite and throw it down into him like it's a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Orson? What are you doing? What are you doing, dude?
He blows up like a Kamen Rider villain.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's idiotic. From an actor, like period Orson Welles perspective, like it's definitely like a must watch. But for Franz I just did a Freud while saying Franz. For fans of Franz, maybe go easy on it. It'll probably ruffle your feathers a bit.
Carlos, did you watch anything? Did you say anything?
I rewatched The Abyss in preparation for this.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's good. Check it out, man. I remembered it pretty strongly. I was wondering, I hadn't seen it in a long time, but yeah, some good stuff.
Yeah, that's where you first see his environmentalism kind of elbow its way in to the like fabric of a plot to a film.
Thank you so much once again. Thank you, robots from the future. Next time, do a fursuit one. I just think it'd be fun.
6 gimp suits layered.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.